Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lucia here. It is Friday morning. So we're doing a Friday Freakout. And I was initially going to freak out about Chris Boucher's amazing trip to St. Lucia that's going on right now, where he's with his mother, his family, Ibrahim, with everybody over there enjoying sun and sunshine and family and fun, but also finding time to work out in the gym and also go down to school in St. Lucia and give backpacks to young children. They're going back to school, giving back in the country that he's born, giving back to the children. And I love seeing that. Chris, you're amazing. We've seen you riding around on four-wheelers around in St. Lucia. The country, as you guys said yesterday, is beautiful. Lush green mountains and hills on the water, and just beautiful, sparkling blue, crystal clear water out there. Just it looks like a place of just natural, intense natural beauty on this planet. And I love that. It's like Chris has the best of all worlds. He has his family there. He has the feeling of it being home. He has the ability to give back. He has the ability to work out and like do all the things he needs to do. So I love it so much. This summer has been a great summer for our Raptors. In some ways, last summer was very good too, but it was weird in some ways. But this summer, I can tell genuine happiness on certain Raptors, that they're a certain place where they're comfortable and they feel pretty good, even though the NBA is one of those kind of businesses where the rug can be pulled out from underneath you at any time. This may be part of the reason why these guys decide to make the best of their summer no matter what, because you know what? In some ways, some stuff can be controlled. In some ways, things cannot be controlled. Siakam, Chris Boucher, these guys may wonder about what they may find out through their phone all of a sudden that may change their NBA destiny. And that's got to be stressful to a degree. So when I see these guys this summer on vacation in very beautiful places like Rome, Italy, St. Lucia, Jamaica, all these different places all these different guys have been going. Scotty, OG, Pascal, Jakob, Gary Trent Jr., Precious. These guys have been world travelers this whole summer. You can see it on their Instagrams. You see them in beautiful locations, European locations, Africa, going back home and helping with teaching the youth basketball there. Giants of Africa, Precious with his camp, Pascal with his camp. You talk about Jakob being in Greece, Pascal being in Rome and Paris and Zurich. And these guys have been all over. Even Precious, he was in Sweden for a while this summer. So I love the way the Raptors have been spending their summer. You got the older Raptors, the ones that have been around, they're all over the globe. They're doing charitable things. They're working hard while they're doing it. You got the younger Raptors sticking around kind of closer. A lot of them here in Toronto working out presently. Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, Marquise Noel. And then you see them in other places working out, like Remy training, Rico Hines runs, all these great places. We've seen OG this week with Steph Curry and Seth Curry working out there. So I feel like the summer is ending. We're getting real close to preseason. And I feel like our guys have taken the summer and made the most of it. And I love them for it. I think they're amazing and people, and you see it all the time in things like the picture for the stream. Chris Boucher giving those backpacks to those kids. Pascal Siakam setting up scholarships for people from his country to come here to go to school. All this kind of stuff is important and great, the giving back. And then, of course, the rest and relaxation, the rejuvenation of our athletes to come back and be able to play for the Raptors in a heavy way. I want to say right now to the guy who had the best summer of all of them, Dennis Schroeder, happy birthday. It's his birthday today, y'all. Dennis's birthday is today. So let's wish Dennis Schroeder a big happy birthday on September 15th. That is Dennis's birthday. I should really get a calendar with all the Raptor related birthdays on it so we don't miss any of them. Because in some ways, we should have little birthday celebrations on a day-to-day basis with the different players and stuff. I guess I'll have to have a project at some point where I keep track of all this so that we know when birthdays are coming up. I dropped the ball on it, honestly. Well, there's a couple of news stories this morning that have me quite astounded. Really, really quite astounded. In fact, my Friday Freakout ain't about the Raptors in their summer and their amazing things that they've been doing, like Chris Boucher. My Friday freakout is about the FIBA rankings, y'all. They came out this morning within the last half hour. The new FIBA rankings after World Cup, the points have been added up, and Canada is number 6. We've jumped up 9 spots from 15 to being ranked number 6 in the entire world. The biggest surprise for me, though, is who's number 1 right now. And in some ways, I'm like, this is gross. I went to ESPN and I read their article about this, and they're bragging about how the USA is still number 1 in all basketball rankings, whether it's women's, whether it's little boys and little girls, or the men's. In every single the FIBA basketball rankings for basketball around the world, the USA is number 1 again. They have taken over from Spain. Spain had been number 1 before this tournament, but because Spain did worse than the US and the US got further, they are actually the number 1 team in FIBA World Cup rankings after the FIBA World Cup. And to me, that doesn't make total sense. They lost to 3 of the teams below them. But you know what it is? It's aggregate. It's an accumulation of the last 8 years of FIBA competition and point system. So they are back in number 1. To me, it feels faulty. It feels weird. Doesn't look right. I don't feel like it's the right kind of records. Now, let me go look at them real quick. We'll talk about it real quick. The number 1 team is USA. They have 786.6 points in FIBA competition. They rose from number 2 to number 1, with Spain falling from number 1 to number 2. Spain did not do very good in this tournament, and USA did better. So that's part of it. Now, Germany rose way high, up 8 spots to get to number 3. That's fantastic. They were like 12th before. So that's a big deal. And that seems like that makes sense. But in some ways, I'm like, well, could Germany be a little bit higher since they actually did win the FIBA World Cup? I mean, is Spain really that much better than Germany or the USA? No, because Germany beat them recently. So in some ways, I don't totally get their system, but I do. I guess you could catch a good team on a bad day and beat them. But still, Germany being number 3 in the world in FIBA World Cup rankings doesn't totally sit well with me. Australia dropped from number 3 to number 4. So they did lose ground because of this. Serbia went up a spot from 6th to 5th, even though they were 2nd in the World Cup, but they did rise up to 5th. And then once again, we're at 6th now. Canada is number 6 in FIBA World Rankings. We were 15th 2 months ago. So we rose up nine spots, and that's fantastic. That is fantastic. I mean, I knew we would go up. I was hoping we'd get in the top 5, but we're number 6. So, I mean, that's no slouch. But still, I mean, I really thought that Canada would be a top 5 FIBA team in this World Cup ranking. And in some ways, I'm like, I feel a little let down. And of course, I'm like mystified. And once again, I'm like, okay, USA is number 1 ranked in FIBA. But to me, they don't feel like it, do they? They don't feel like it to me. I mean, if they go get their old heads and they restock their team next year, okay, maybe they will be really like the number 1 team in FIBA. But to me, it's shaky. Argentina has fallen a lot because they didn't even make the FIBA World Cup, and they've dropped 3 spots to 7 from being in number 4 before. Latvia, huge gainer. They went up 22 spots from their fantastic performance at World Cup to be the 8th ranked team in FIBA, ahead of France, who dropped 4 spots from 5 to 9. Lithuania dropped 2 spots also in this tournament, even though they played so well and they beat the USA. They dropped 2 spots to 10, which is weird to me. Slovenia and Lucia dropped 4 spots out of the top 10 to 11. Brazil went up 1 to 12. Italy went down 3. Greece went down 5. Poland went down 1. Puerto Rico went up 5. Dominican went up 6. Yeah, the biggest gainer in the World Cup for going up spots was South Sudan. They've got rose up like 33 spots on the FIBA rankings because of their great performance at FIBA World Cup. So the really big winners at FIBA World Cup for moving up in the FIBA rankings were South Sudan, Latvia, and Canada to a degree. I mean, Canada really did jump a huge jump. 9 spots from 15 to 6 is a big deal. Once again, USA being at the top and seeing that this morning has kind of got me like, really? I mean, I guess they got to feel good. So go ahead and help them feel good after their failure this week. Sure, go ahead and help them feel good for that. But in some ways, it's hollow because let's show up and see what happens when they actually really play. Germany, Canada against USA. Yeah, you saw both those games losses for the US. So, all right, this is the rankings. This is their system. This is how they do it. Well, Canada, you got to keep climbing. You're still only sixth. If you want to be in the top five, well, we still got some work to do. And in some ways, I hope this does motivate guys like RJ Barrett and Shea Gilgis Alexander to see, oh, we're only sixth. And oh, these teams are still above us. We beat some of these teams. This doesn't seem right to me, is maybe what some of them would say. So yeah, there you go. What do you think about the new FIBA World Cup, World Rankings for basketball that came out this morning? The official FIBA rankings after World Cup coming out this morning. Good morning, Raptors family, from Trevor J. He's got the Raptor heads in full effect. Good to see Commissioner J. Alan Bam, Tam, son. Alan Bam, Tam, son. MSJ saying, got to be tough for Chris to crack lineups each year. But when he is on one, he is a solid one. I hope Darko can encourage him more this year. Yeah, Chris, we're all big fans of Boucher, and I'm with you on this, MSJ. I really want Chris to continue to keep the climb that he's had with his game as far as defensively and offensive rebounding wise and energy wise. And I think that in some ways he is a very special, unique NBA player that not every team has on their team. So in some ways, it's an extra specialized weapon that Darko can utilize. Now, I think he's a very creative man, Rajakovic. So if he sees the build and the type of player Chris is, I'm going to be very curious to see how he uses him. And if he doesn't use him in similar ways that Nick did, we could be very, very pleasantly surprised with what Chris Boucher is doing this year, partly because Darko may understand him better than Nick did. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. I have some signs that Chris feels embattled, like he has to win things all over again because there's a new coaching staff. And that's true. All these guys should feel like this to an extent. Now, some of them are very ensconced in their roles and how important they are to the Raptors. So in some ways, they're not worried like Scotty or, Pascal. But Chris and other guys who are kind of around the rotation may be fighting for spots with people that are new, like Jalen McDaniels, or, old friends that have been around for a while, like Precious. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Sure, there's uncertainty for Boucher about his new role under a new coaching staff, but I believe in him. And I think that Darko's smart enough to understand the uniqueness of Chris, and he will value it. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes, Chris. But great mention. And yeah, it's been this way his whole career. He's had to figure out how to crack into it. And as somebody said yesterday, I think it was Cool Cat, that he started his career late with basketball. He didn't start playing until he's older. So in some ways, all this stuff with him, well, it's just par for the course because of the late start for him. And it's not a very normal NBA career arc. Like it's very coming delayed and at an older age. So people say he's almost 30 right now. What can he do to get better? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. If you're smart and you have a will to get better and better, it doesn't matter if you're not young anymore. You can still have rise and jumps in your game in your 30s. So we'll just have to see what the path has for Chris Boucher coming up. I believe good things are happening. I believe that Chris, if he has a positive attitude, he works well with as is on the team, listens to his coach, does some things that he wants him to do, and boom, he will be fine, and he'll get lots of minutes. So we'll see. Cowboy is here. Good morning, Lex. Bam. And Raptor Freaks. Good job, Boucher. It's always good to see someone helping others. Let's go. That is an overwhelming trait of a lot of the Raptors this summer. I don't think, in some ways they're encouraged to do charitable things, but I don't think they have to really try that hard because in their hearts, they love doing this kind of stuff. We've seen them go to places like Sick Kids and they get really touched. And they're like, this means so much more to us coming here and helping them in some ways than it does for them to see us, is what they say. Grady Dick came to Toronto earlier this summer and he refereed some youth games just for fun around the Raptors. That was a huge thing and a big deal. These guys doing camps all over the place, like Christian Coloco traveling to Edmonton and doing a camp in the middle of Alberta is a big deal because it's outreach. It gets the community involved, whatever kind of connection and outreach these guys can do. Scotty doing his camps in Palm Beach, here in Toronto, and different things. Scotty doing the Bowlway commercial with Chris and what they were doing. The thing with his condo. This is all kind of like connecting them to the community and making them a part and making them feel like they're helping people, because they are. They really, really are. They inspire people just with their play, but also, if you make a connection with them, they come and see you at the Sick Kids Hospital, I'm sure you feel better that day. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Yeah. Bam, son. Ow. I love it. I love it. I love it. Cowboys got all the Raptors on blast, along with Monique and me. I love to see that in the moats. Thank you, Tom Duke, for your moats. Trevor J's words of wisdom this morning are: life is a journey. Every obstacle is a test of your faith. And without faith, it is no journey, and no journey is without faith. That's heavy. In some ways, listen, the world cannot be completely known to you at every single moment. There's always going to be a cloud of mystery or something ahead. You will not totally understand what might happen. And that can be very stressful for people that like to know what's going to happen. If you are one of those people, I'm a little bit like that. I get it. It's hard to live that way. But sometimes you just have to leave faith to the powers that be out there that you will be protected and you'll be okay and things will work out in the end. Because sometimes things are cloudy and dangerous and scary. And sometimes that's all we gotta have is faith. It's all we may have because there's nothing else to turn. So whatever your faith is, I'm not saying it's Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, whatever it is, use your faith to get through those tough times and just give yourself up and say, whatever shall be, shall be. Que sera, sera. And just let it unfold and make the best of it from what you can control after it happens, is what I will say right there. So great words of wisdom, Trevor J. Faith can be a very powerful life preserver through difficult times, is what I'm saying right there. Nameless is saying, just cop the iPhone 15 Pro Max, baby. But don't worry, my ancestors had to whack a lot of people for me to have that. Okay, this is the generational wealth has added up to an iPhone 15 Pro Max for Nameless. All right, who do they whack? That sounds like it could be two ways and kind of what? All right, Nameless, we love you, man. Thank you for the Italian lessons in the past. And I don't know what I would do to get an iPhone 15. I don't know. G saying Butler is here celebrating his birthday and practicing with trainers at OVO. I just saw this, G. Like 10 minutes before I got on here. I'm like, what? Jimmy Butler is at OVO Center training. I don't even know if that's OVO. That might even be the practice facility at the top of Scotiabank Arena, guys. There's two different practice facilities we got, and one of them is in the arena on the third floor, and that's the one that looks like he's in. I don't think he's at OVO. The Raptors have been using that practice court up on top of Scotiabank a lot recently, and I think that's where Jimmy is. He's definitely on Raptors court, which is so weird to me. I get it. Toronto's an awesome city, Jimmy Butler. And happy birthday, bro. I do like you, Hemi. You are a great NBA player and somebody who I have a lot of respect for. But this is weird, bro. Why are you at the Raptors facility? Can I do any kind of Brian Windhorst thing about this? Can I? Jimmy Butler's at the Raptors practice court at Scotiabank Arena? I mean, people would be like, well, so what? So what? I don't know. What does this mean? I mean, him being around Masai and the rest of the Raptors organization, not that I think he's going to leave Miami, but what does this mean? Why is he in Toronto on his birthday? And why is he in the Raptors practice court? He could be in a lot of different courts around Toronto. He doesn't have to be with us. He must have reached out to us to be allowed to come and be on our third floor practice court at our arena. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's very strange. It's very, very strange that Jimmy Butler is at our home court right now working out. Very strange. I don't know. Let's read into it. Let's not. Maybe it's nothing. I don't know. Heat fan? You a little worried? I don't know. Maybe a little bit of your own medicine. You gonna try and politic and get Chris Bosh to come play for y'all at the Olympics? Maybe Jimmy Butler's up here talking to us now. I don't know. Maybe y'all should be worried. I don't know. If Masai can do something crazy, he can do something crazy. Trust me. It could very well be. Maybe there's some sort of weird thing going on with the Dame Lillard talks in Miami and Toronto. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe there will be a shuffling around of different people. And who knows? Maybe Jimmy Butler is a Raptor all of a sudden. That may go against what Lillard wanted in the first place, of coming down to Miami to play with Jimmy. But hey, if you really want Dame Lillard in Miami, maybe there's a tough price, and it's Jimmy himself. And there's a three-way trade. Jimmy Butler to Toronto, Dame Lillard to Miami, and whoever from us to Portland. I have no idea how this could go down. If Jimmy Butler's wearing a Raptors jersey this season, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be upset about that. It's weird, though. It's very weird. I've never seen this happen before like this. Opposing players will come with Team Canada, but never like this. I've never seen an opposing player just come by themselves and come use the Raptors facilities like this. It's very, very strange. Very strange to me. Fiercey's here. Good morning and happy Friday, fam. Looking forward to seeing how Chris will play under Darko's helm. New era and positive mindset. He also does great things for the community. Yeah. Everybody on the Raptors is a great citizen. You're not going to have any Kevin Porters running around on our team. Nah, we don't allow that. We're smart with our investments in young players. We don't get knuckleheads that may be beating up their girlfriends and going to jail. That's why you have to eat this contract, Houston. Now, I have heard part of the reason why they want to trade his contract is this, is that they want to give another team the opportunity to cut him and make cap space for their team. In some ways, they don't want to do this because of the situation they're in the summer with overpaying Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet. They're already at a certain place where they can't go underneath their salary cap because the NBA will penalize them. So in some ways, maybe their hands are tied, and that's why they're trying to trade him to another team so that they can just cut him and get that money off the books and be freed of it. So in some ways, Houston trying to trade him right now is actually helpful to possibly another team that may want to do some salary restructuring by cutting some salary off. That's what I'm hearing. And that's part of the reason why they want to trade him is they know that they're not going to have him anymore, but maybe they want to also kind of get some assets for him and allow another team to do something with their salary cap because they can't do the same thing. They can't afford to shed that kind of salary from their salary cap because they're already near the minimum of spending that they have to do required by the new collective bargaining agreement. So this is part of the reason why Houston's asking people if they want to trade for Kevin Porter Jr. is that they want to give them the opportunity to cut some salary off their cap. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Seymour saying, what's good, Raptor freaks and freakettes? Yeah, Sheriff Seymour Pape holding it down in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Stu Hart country. That's right, Hart country. That's right, the heart of the heartland with the heart. That's right. Fiercey saying, freakettes. Freakettes. It makes me think of Alvin, Simon, Theodore, the Chipmunks and the Chipettes. You know the names of the Chipettes? I think it was Brittany, Jeanette, and Eleanor were the name of the Chipettes. I actually know the names of them. Yeah, you put me in some crazy pop trivia. I'll know the answers of the Chipmunk Chipettes. Yeah, Alvin, Simon, Theodore, Brittany, Jeanette, and Eleanor. Yeah, they even rhyme together. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. TGIF. I see Jimmy Butler in town to see his agent on his birthday. Raptors allowed him to train at Scotiabank Arena practice court. That's not our OVO center. That has all the bells and whistles. That's right. That's right. I identified it, and so did Cool Cat. It's a weird thing where I've been up the practice court. I know what it looks like, even when they change the paint and the colors. I know how the light hits that room and how it hits the OVO center. That's how I keep them separated and understand that's actually the third floor at Scotiabank Arena where Jimmy's shooting there. Scotty's also been there in the last week, and so is Marquise and Grady. It seems like in some ways they're using that practice court more recently than the OVO center right now. I'm not sure what's going on with OVO. Maybe they're doing some remodeling. Maybe there's some changing, and it's displaced people who want to practice over to the Scotiabank Arena at the third floor. But good eye by Cool Cat pointing this out also. She caught it too. And that's what I'm saying. Us Raptor freaks, we know our practice courts for the Raptors. That's right. Cool Cat seeing it also. I don't get this totally. Cool Cat, if you have any more on why Jimmy Butler is at our place, other than he just wants to work out and we're being nice to him, please let me know. Enlighten me. Fiercely saying, happy birthday, Dennis. Great idea with the birthday calendar, Lex. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it's another part of workload. I don't know. Does anybody want to be the birthday coordinator for this channel? You could have a really cool kind of thing. Like Trevor has his words of wisdom. Monique's always giving me cue cards and teaching me, telling me what I should talk about next. Does anybody want to be in charge of birthdays? Because in some ways, that's work that I don't mind doing and I can do it, but it is extra on top of all the things I'm already doing. And it could be a fun little thing for somebody who's a regular on here to keep track of everybody's birthdays and just bring them up and put them on blast in the chat. You just say, hey guys, guess whose birthday it is today? Christian Coloco. And then we're all like, woo, or something like that. That's up to y'all. If nobody's going to do it, I'll do it still. But I'm just saying, this could be somebody's new thing. They can be the birthday person who announces the Raptor birthday for the day. I'm going to say, hey, is there any birthdays today? And then boom, that person will tell me, yeah, the birthday today is Teresa Resch, assistant GM of the Raptors or player personnel. There you go. Yeah, Fiercey, there you go. Thank you for the bright idea. Mischief saying Dennis is 30 years old, same age as Fred. That's right. Him and Fred are very much around the same place in their life. 3 young children, 30 years old, getting paid to play in the NBA. Yeah, a lot. We have a few guys who are right around 30 right now. Siakam, Boucher, Dennis. And then we have those older guys, just a little bit older, Otto, Thad, and Garrett. But that's pretty much it. Those are the oldest guys on our team. Also, Pirtle. Pirtle's around that age also. He's up there near 32. So there you go. Dennis is 30. He's not a young guy anymore. He's a mature vet in this league and a great leader. And I'm excited about him helping to lead our Raptors this year. I'm very excited about it. Fiercely saying, of course, ESPN will highlight being a numero uno, although they've barely mentioned their recent loss to Canada. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's funny the way they wrote the article on ESPN about it. It's almost like it's pathetic because it's kind of like they know they just failed and they look really bad at FIBA World Cup. Well, they're like, it's like, somebody needing to over embellish to feel more confident. It's like that's what that article comes off to me as. It's kind of like, oh yeah, well, we're still number one ranked in this and this and this. I'm like, why are you overcompensating for your failures at FIBA World Cup? Because that's what I feel like the American broadcasters are doing right now with the Team USA and where they're at right now. Oh, well, the FIBA World Cup rankings came out, and now we can look at this and be, oh, yeah, we're still number one, and toot your horn about that. Okay, you go ahead and toot your horn about a ranking. We'll toot our horns about getting medals, physical medals that went around our necks. How about that? How about that? You go ahead. You can have your little piece of paper with your ranking. Go ahead. But that's what I'm saying. They seem like they're insecure the way they have to toot their horn about the ranking at this point. Now, I'm telling you, people betray themselves with how they really feel sometimes by thou dost protest too much. And that's kind of what's happening here. USA, you want to really, really put on blast your ranking this morning on ESPN all over the place? Go ahead. It's hollow. And do you have something you bite into with a thing around your neck like some of our guys did? No, you didn't. You did not. Yeah. Kareem Thomas is here. Good to see Kareem. Kareem joining us on the Facebook group last night. Thank you, Kareem, for coming in there. Now you can see all the fun we're doing in there and be a part of that. We need to stop talking about USA's national team. They didn't medal, and that's the end of it. They stink. There you go. Kareem's like, why do we even give them the attention? Well, at least for this morning, we've got to, because the FIBA rankings came out, and I just wanted to react to them. But yeah, I will take your advice, Kareem, and we'll stop talking about them from here on now. They're going to over speculate who's on that team. They're going to talk all this trash. They're going to be on ESPN all the time for a while. And we don't live in the U.S. We don't watch ESPN, so we don't have to be a part of it. You're exactly right, Kareem. Thank you. Monique is here. Good to see the super fan. Monique, the greatest. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. I will always appreciate Uninterrupted Canada for Chris Boucher's documentary. So great. Yes, thank you, Monique. Once again, bringing up the great documentary of Chris Boucher that came out earlier this year that was absolutely fantastic. In fact, it showed so many aspects about him that we didn't realize. The stuff about him sleeping in a bus for like a year in Montreal because he didn't feel like he could go home. The stuff about his mom being shy and timid and not wanting to be on camera, but then she came out and was on camera with him, and him being so proud of his mom. There was so many great moments in that thing. You know, the idea of him working at a Mary Brown's Chicken, and now he's like the ad person for Mary Brown's and so many other companies like Subway and Silk Milk and all kinds of things right now. It's amazing journey and story, Chris Boucher's. And yes, thank you, Uninterrupted Canada, for getting that documentary together and putting it out. Absolutely fantastic. I'm a fun guys here. To be fair, USA best players were missing towards the end in those losses. Who? Paulo? Jaren Jackson? Nah, let's not use excuses. Listen, part of the competition is showing up for it. I don't care. Guys back in the day used to play with broken feet and hands. Our guys will sit out for Nintendo thumb these days in the current generations. That's part of it. You got to show up to win. So these guys ain't showing up. Well, that's just what you get. And honestly, I don't think Banchero, Jaren Jackson Jr., who are the other ones? Brandon Ingram, were really going to make that much of a big deal in that game against Canada, at least. And they had those guys for other ones where they lost to Germany and Lithuania. So yeah, that's not a valid excuse. And I wouldn't say that to be fair. Honestly, they could be missing players and they should win no matter what because they're all stars, right? So I'm not going to give them that excuse. Kareem saying early last year, Chris had a real shot at being sixth man of the year. I don't know what exactly happened, but hopefully Darko can just squeeze a little bit more out of him. Yeah. I mean, I think that you're right. In some ways, what happened was Nick stopped using him. He really had a period in the middle of the year where Chris had some DNPs, and he kind of got out of a rhythm with being on the court all the time. Yeah, that kind of stuff was what was pissing me off with Nick because he was very strong earlier in the year. Chris was, and at some point he got forgotten in the shuffle. And I know that was frustrating for him, but he hung through it, and he did show up and play hard when he did get his number called. But for that's true. He was looking really, really good at a certain time. Very, very consistent in what he was doing off the bench. And something went wrong in the middle of the season at some point. It kind of went along with everything being screwed up on the team. He was doing great when the team was doing good at the beginning of the year. Cowboys saying, happy birthday, Dennis the Menace. I seen the ranking this morning, laugh out loud. Wow and wow. Bradley seen it. He's like, what is this? What is this? Well, it really is the whole body of work. And in some ways, the U.S. didn't do bad. They got fourth. So it's not like they were super, super bad like France or Spain who fell. And part of it is that Spain did so badly that U.S. was able to overcome them. Because Spain has had more points. Well, they lost points like crazy because we beat them and they went out and they didn't get into the higher levels of the tournament. So it's just how it worked. And in some ways, it's good because stair steps. We can't get all the way to the top all the way all at once. And even Germany can't, apparently, even though they won it. They got to be at third and we got to be at sixth. So there's some staircases we still got to climb, Bradley. And then we'll get there. We'll get there. MSJ saying, at Kareem, I feel the same. The magic with him and Precious was lethal. What happened? Well, think about it this way. That team went away when Precious got hurt in the fall, and he missed the longest period of time ever in his basketball career. He missed like 2 months. And that tag team of DX off the bench with Chris and Precious was not available because Precious wasn't there. And that may have hurt some of that synergy and what we were really enjoying at the beginning of the year when those guys would come out together off the bench. Well, maybe Darko will recognize that again and give these guys the swagger to come out and be the tag team champions of the NBA once again. Shawn Michaels and Triple H. So silly that they want to be those guys. I kind of wish they would rather be the Hart Foundation than the DX, but whatever. They want to be Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Let them be that. I know Scotty's a huge Shawn Michaels fan also. So when they talk wrestling, they're probably like DX fans. And I don't know. Y'all are Canadian. Chris, you're Canadian. You should be rooting for Bret Hart. But he's also roots for villains. So that's part of the reason why. Shawn Michaels is one of the biggest villains towards Canada in wrestling. And that's why Canadian people hate him. American people like Shawn Michaels more than Canadian people. Canadian people hate Shawn Michaels. Canadian people love Bret Hart. And it's kind of reverse. American people hate Bret Hart because he said the truth about their country. That's why they hate him, because he told the truth. Ah, it's so funny. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's see. Monique saying, happy birthday to Dennis. Way to drop your parade championship celebration video yesterday. Wow. That's right. Dennis dropped another YouTube clip yesterday. The parade and everything at Germany, the speeches, them standing in front and talking to the people, them drinking champagne out of the Naismith cup. Mo Wagner in particular is just all about stumping that thing down his gullet. And Dennis just looking smooth and getting up there, saying some poignant words as a leader and as the MVP of Team Germany. It was so fun to see the German fans welcoming them back and giving them hugs and interacting with them coming off the bus. That's a weird bus they had him on, right, Monique? Like, did you see how they were getting off that bus? It had that's not a bus for a basketball players or a basketball team. It has like an overhang and they have to lean under and come underneath this thing. Like it chop their head off. You can get these guys hurt trying to come through that low hanging bus entrance, getting off. If you watch the clip, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really weird. But yeah, really fun to see the inside perspective of Dennis Schroeder on his return to Germany and the victory parade for them when they got there. You know, not all the German players were there. We talked about this a little bit in the last couple of days, how Canada couldn't have this victory return like Germany or Latvia or Serbia did, partly because our players for Canada did not all fly back together and go to the same places. Well, one of the German players did not come back with them and was not at the celebration, and that was Daniel Theis. Daniel Theis not able to come back with them and be a part of this for whatever reason. Maybe he's coming straight back to the U.S. to get ready for the NBA season for different things. That is why Team Canada was not together when they came back from Manila, that to get that hero's welcome back from Canada. It's too bad. Now, there were little instances of individuals coming back, like Lou Dort in the Montreal airport, getting a nice welcome, but nothing huge and big. And in some ways, we feel cheated for that. In some ways, we do. Cece, thank you for the super chat. A great supporter of this channel, Cece. I don't know if you know Cece, but you are in our in-season tournament challenge with Trevor J. Commissioner Trevor J is giving me a challenge to tell the Raptor Freaks, we're going to give you guys teams, and whoever wins the in-season tournament will win a trophy. You don't have to do anything. It's not a fantasy sport where you have to play a lineup or anything. We're just assigning everybody a team. Now, Cece, I gave you a team, and your team is the Charlotte Hornets. I'm sorry. I know that's not one of the better teams, but if the Hornets somehow, some way win the in-season tournament, you will win the Trevor J Challenge. So your horse in the race is the Hornets, unfortunately. And some of it was because your name starts with C, and so does Charlotte. So just to let you know, you are involved in this contest on this channel, the Trevor J In-Season Tournament Challenge, which will be played very soon. I appreciate you, CC, for the super chat once again. Let's see. G saying Butler is trying to get to the NOAA system after Brooks's endorsement. Well, this is good that we sent him to the place where it isn't, because we don't have the NOAA system at the practice court at Scotiabank. So, yeah, if he's trying to figure out the secrets of it, let him go to the practice court at the arena and not down to OVO. So if he wants NOAA, he's not getting NOAA. NOAA's over by the lake, and he's over by the tower, and that's good. There's just laughing at G and saying, if Butler comes aboard, I don't want to lose OG, Pascal, or Scotty. I know. Well, I don't know how this would work, and I know Miami wouldn't give up Jimmy Butler. So it's kind of like, well, okay, but it'd be fun to put the shoe on the other foot and start speculating. Yeah, Jimmy Butler's coming to Toronto, y'all, because he's here working out with us right now. How do you feel, Miami? Yeah, how do you feel lusting after everybody's players? And all of a sudden, your best, most coveted player that y'all love the most is in Toronto, in our arena, working with our people. Yeah, let's start some irresponsible shams rumors right now. Yeah, let's start our own little irresponsible shams rumors. Well, Jimmy Butler is in Toronto working out at the Toronto's arena. Yeah, we can start this. We'll put it on the other way. That's right. That's right. No, I'm not worried about any of our guys. No, he's just coming here. We're not losing anybody. Jimmy's coming here as a free agent. That's right. Kyle told him it was awesome here, so he's coming. All right, Meredith's here. Good to see MK in the chat live with us this morning. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. I just want to say I'm always listening. I'm working, so I have to stop and play as I go, which means I'm not always listening live. I was cracking up listening to y'all kick out that troll. Awesome. Awesome, Meredith. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty funny a couple days ago. I will turn the chat where anybody can come in. You don't have to be a subscriber. And on those days, I kind of know we may get somebody like that. But some days when I just don't want that riffraff, I'm going to turn it off. But yeah, I know how to kind of control this. We're not going to leave the door open for somebody to come in like that. I'll leave it open sometimes for entertainment purposes. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, MK. Please drive safely while you're listening to us. And just be safe. But if it's funny, pull over and don't keep driving if you're in a moment where you're like, yeah. But really good to see you live in here with us, Meredith. And once again, it's great win in the WNBA Fantasy League. And I will be getting back to my house early next week, and I'll put that whistle in the mail for you when I get back around Monday or Tuesday. All right, MK, always happy to see you. And drive safe. And we know your presence is here, and we appreciate you, Meredith. And, when you get to be live again, we'll always be happy to see your comment in the chat. All right, man. Good to see you, and have a great weekend, too, after today. Monique saying it's the practice court, not OVO. Very interesting, Lex, for sure, Jimmy. Yeah, Mo saw it, too. That's the upstairs. That practice court, one time I was hanging out up there because I was working in a stand next to it. This is way back when I worked at the Scotiabank Arena, Air Canada Center at the time. And Lindsey Hunter was there. Former Raptor, former Detroit Piston, Lindsey Hunter was standing by the entrance and just hanging out. So I was like, hey, Lindsey Hunter, what's going on? And this is like 20 years ago when Lindsey Hunter was on the Raptors. But yeah, that was pretty cool. That's a really good place to hang out and wait for players, because one thing is the entryway to that practice court comes out into the concourse where the fans and the concessions are. And then they have to turn around, go into the elevator to go down to where their dressing room and where they go to get ready for the game and come out on the lower floor. So if you ever go to the game and you want to be there early, that's a great place to stand and hang out to see the players transfer from the practice court to the elevator to go downstairs. People get autographs and pictures taken with them that way. So go up to that 300 level near the practice court facility, and you may be able to see them and get a picture with one of the Raptors going down to the dressing room before the game. You got to get there real early, though, because they're up there in the practice court practicing around or on the court of the court before the game pretty early. So, yeah, there you go. Dana's here. Good to see Canadian Dana. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Dana. And David saying to MK, congrats, man. Don't think you were around yesterday. Yeah, it's awesome. David giving congratulations to Meredith for the big victory. I mean, I'm going to tell you this right now. The WNBA Fantasy League that we did this year was so competitive, honestly. I could not believe the job that David and Meredith did in this league. Y'all were like almost perfect. The fact that you guys and I only lost to each other when we battled each other this year was fantastic. We all had like maybe one or two losses and just absolutely did really good otherwise. So I'm really proud of both y'all. Honestly, you guys made this league so competitive and so fun this year. And I appreciate you, Meredith and David, for the competition. Now, on that note, I've got 20 opens. I got 20 spots for our NBA Fantasy League on Yahoo. And I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. If you want to play in this league with us, you can go to that link that I just put in the chat and you can join it. But I want serious managers. I want ones that are going to keep up with it. I want people that aren't going to just sign up, draft, and then not do anything for the whole year. I want people that are going to be active with trades and waiver wire moves and setting their daily lineups. So if you want to play Yahoo Fantasy basketball with us this year, there's your chance. I told that guy came in here yesterday and said, hey, can I sign up? Well, I told him, you can come in here every day. You'll get your chance. Well, the chance is there right now. We've got 7 teams in the league at this point, and there's another 13 spots to fill. So if you want to be in this league, jump on it. It's first come, first serve. And if you are a regular member of this channel or somebody who's in our Facebook group or anything, you have an advantage of getting in there and having priority. So if there are some different people, some of them I'm not familiar with on this channel, you will probably not get a spot just because if there are people that are regulars on this channel that do want spots, they will get them. Now, another thing I'm thinking about and considering is making 2 leagues. Going ahead and doing one on ESPN also. partly because Monique is not having an easy time accessing Yahoo's fantasy sports. So in some ways, I might set up a second league in ESPN. And if I do that, I may ask some of y'all to play in both leagues, but I may not ask all of y'all. And it may be that we try and fill as many people playing fantasy sports in the two different leagues. So there may be a second league made for ESPN just so Monique can play with us on that interface. I do want to do the Yahoo one still too. So there may be 2 Raptor Freak fantasy NBA leagues this year, just so y'all know. So that means even more spots for people to have teams. So as I said, if you want in right now, your chances with that link that I just put into this chat. So jump on it. Jump on it if you want it. That's right. Yeah. Seymour's got Canadian Dana. Salute to you, Canadian Dana, and your very large son. Yes. Monique is saying, shout out to Ibrahim Apaya for helping Chris get in the right direction over the years, et cetera, et cetera. Yes. Everybody's uncle. Thank you for being a guiding light for our young, young slim duck, Mr. Chris Boucher. As he says, he's nothing without you. If you were there to help guide him and some of the things that have happened to him in his life, he may not have gotten to where he's gotten, and he realizes that, and he's very, very appreciative of you. That's a person that I'd like to know their birthday, that we could celebrate their birthday too. So if anybody's into doing the birthday thing, it's like good getting like people that are important around the Raptors, like Herbie Kuhn, Matt Devlin, Jack Armstrong, Alvin Williams, Bobby Webster, Darko Rajakovic. We get as many birthdays on this birthday calendar. I'm gonna figure it out. If one of y'all doesn't want to do it, I will definitely do it myself. Dana's saying hi to Seymour Pape. That's the sheriff. And Seymour saying McDaniels is going to stand out. Watch, I have high hopes for him. That's what I'm saying. It's a crowded field. Chris may be looking and seeing. McDaniels is very long and lanky like me. And there's some things, oh, you guys got Mohamedou Gueye coming up in the G League? Oh, it's like he sees competition around him and he gets a little worried. I'll bet he does. Yeah. I really love some of the stuff I've been seeing on Instagram, the support that people are having for people like Chris. Chris posted something yesterday, and in the likes for the picture on Instagram are Scotty, Pascal, Dennis, Christian, Coloco, Precious, Grady Dick, Marquise Noel. We're seeing these Raptors supporting each other through social media in likes, and I like that. I really do like that. The wide variety of different Raptors liking Chris's posts in St. Lucia are really awesome. The people that are liking Pascal's European pictures, I love seeing those guys love that stuff. So I love that kind of. I know it's kind of just like it's just a like on a picture, but it means something that they're engaged. They're looking at each other's stuff, and they're excited and they're happy for each other, having good things happen for each other. This is all good team building and good kind of team spirit. So let's see. Dana's saying RJ was at the Blue Jays game last night. Don't get me started on the Blue Jays. I'm so pissed off. Yeah, I don't even know what's going on with them. I know that they're kind of choking near the end of the season is what I'm kind of hearing, the rumblings around it. Really nice to see RJ there. Of course, he was sitting in the booth with Dan Schulman, who just called the FIBA World Cup. So, of course, he was kind of like really pumping him up because he, of course, was there and saw the whole thing. RJ carrying himself in a really nice way, very matter of fact, very proud of their accomplishment and stuff like that. But RJ is just a really good spokesperson and a young athlete in the NBA. And I'm proud to see him come to Toronto and put that Blue Jays jersey on and support our baseball team, even though he's a New York Knicks player. And I'm sure Yankee fans love that. So, yeah, RJ, wear your home team, the Toronto Blue Jays, and go to that game. I love it. I love seeing him there. Cool Cat saying Pascal turns 29 in April. Jakob will be 28 in October. OG will turn 26 July, and Chris is 30. Dennis is 30 today. Yeah, that sounds about right. They're hovering. They're getting closer to 30 in some ways. Just like I'm getting closer to 50. And David's got that umlaut O on there. Let's see. Seymour's saying, wait, OG's only 26? Damn, thought he was older. Raptor for life. Yeah, OG's deceivingly young. So is Gary Trent Jr. He's a lot younger than we think he is also. Precious, another one. These guys are all like mid to lower 20s still. They're closer to Scotty than they are Pascal in some ways, which is very interesting if you think about it. Very, very interesting. Let's see. Cool Cat's saying only Scotty's 22 and Gary 24 under 25 of the core starter group. And Precious is not that far up above that either. I think he is 25, Precious, or 24. He's 24 also, I think. MSJ saying, so the bench then with McDaniels, anyone have a clue? Could it be Gary, McDaniels, Chris, Precious, and Coloco, Otto, and Scotty Barnes as point guard? I could see. All right, I like that group you're saying. Like if we just assume Dennis, Scotty, OG, Pascal, and Jakob start, uh, I could see it being Gary, McDaniels, maybe. I don't know how he's going to fit in there. See, that's the thing. McDaniels and Chris are kind of really are vying for the same kind of stuff. Precious definitely will be playing. Coloco should hopefully be playing. And I think Grady Dick may be the other name you need to add into that little group as far as like him being in the rotation off the bench. So we'll have to see how it shakes out. It could be a different thing every night. Like it may not be that he has a set rotation every night. He has a couple guys that are quasi rotation who are half and half. And they may not play every game, but they're playing every other game and they may be switching. It could be that Jalen McDaniels plays one game and then Chris is playing the next game or something like that. I could see him doing stuff like that. So we'll have to see. It's all up in the air. There's so many unknowns having a whole brand new coaching staff and a coach like Darko, who's never, ever coached the NBA. And we really don't know much about him as Raptor fans. We could go look at old stuff, but even with the Memphis stuff or the Oklahoma City stuff, we got to remember there was a head coach that was doing the stuff around him too. So this is really Darko's first show himself. And this will be kind of telling us his personality as a coach, more so than being in Memphis or Oklahoma City or any of the other stops he's been at before, because they were tainted with the head coach that was there too. Taylor Jenkins, Scott Brooks, different people he's coached under. So we'll have to see what Darko's flavor is, purely Darko, without the filter of a head coach above him. It'll be very interesting to see what his philosophies and what matters to him most are and what gets him pissed off and what he wants them to do really good at and what he doesn't really care about. It'll be very, very interesting. I'm all about it. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Great question, Chris, though. The bench stuff is really hard to kind of answer, just like the starting question is. Starting question has been coming out most part this whole summer. Who's going to start for the Raptors? Who's the starting point guard? Who's going to start? But the bench question is very interesting also. MK saying, thanks, David. Also, thanks for the gifted sub. I did want to say I learned a lot from playing you in fantasy. I definitely borrowed some of your tricks. There you go. There you go. That's the way you win. You study your opponent. If there's stuff that they know and they're doing, like switching their players out in certain ways during the week, you try and do that. It's really the key to fantasy is diligence. You have to be diligently doing something with your team almost every day. And baseball, especially, if you do fantasy baseball, you have to absolutely set up your lineup every single day according to pitchers and catchers. You want to get as many catchers played, and catchers sit all the time because they don't play every game. So you have to have a good battery of catchers if you play fantasy baseball. And you have to absolutely check your lineup every single day. And sometimes you have to watch the lineup in the hours leading up to baseball games to be able to be ready to switch guys out and in, depending on whether they're sitting or not. Because you could have a big time hitter on your squad and all of a sudden they're getting a rest day. You have them sitting in your lineup. That's a waste. So you have to get your replacement in before it starts. So yeah, fantasy baseball is even more labor intensive. The one that's the easiest is the football because it's only like games one day a week usually. There's a couple games on Thursday, whatever. But for the most part, you only deal with Sunday when you're doing NFL fantasy. Well, and then hockey and basketball are in between baseball and football as far as how intense you have to be about it. Baseball is the most intense fantasy sport. You really got to be into it to do well in fantasy baseball. Trust me. But basketball and hockey, it's a week to week, sometimes a day to day thing. It depends on how you want, what level. Yeah, David's saying, happy to hear that. It was fun. Well done, champ. There you go. David's a gracious loser, but also a really good winner, too. David's won our trivia. David is a top competitor around our Raptor Freak family. And yeah, I look forward to competing with David in many different kind of competitions as we go forward in life. That's right, David. You and me, in some ways, is a grudge match. But I know you and MK will be a bit of a grudge match, too. Because you want to get some get back against Meredith for beating you in that championship. I know you do, David. I know you. I know David right now. I really do know David. Monique saying, Chris's mom, Mary, we love you. We love you, Mary. I don't know if your last name is Boucher, But we love you, Chris's mom, Mary. That's for sure. Yeah. David's saying, share the love club for Mary on Saturday. I don't know. I already have my idea of who we're doing tomorrow. If you want me to tell you, we're going to do Alvin Williams tomorrow. Alvin did such a good job during the FIBA World Cup, and his voice was there for Canada basketball, and it didn't have to be. He's a man from Philly. In some ways, his allegiance to Canada are dumbfounding to me. I love you for it. I love how you've totally turned your back on the U.S. and Philadelphia to an extent, Alvin Williams. So we're going to do the Saturday Share the Love Club for Boogie Williams, one of our broadcasters, getting ready for our season coming up. And because he did such a good job at FIBA World Cup, that's who we're doing Share the Love Club for tomorrow. My man, Alvin. We've done a trivia for him, but we haven't done a Share the Love Club for him. And I want to do a Share the Love Club for one of the greatest clutch Raptors of all time and our broadcaster now, Mr. Alvin Williams. That's right. There we go. Cowboys saying this team is stacked. I can't wait for this season. He's got the team of Monique, myself, and Masai. We are stacked with this team. That's right. Quick Takes is here. Bless up, Lex and the Raptor Freaks. Let's get it. Yes, NBA Quick Takes. Good to see you. I hope you'll get one of those fantasy teams, NBA Quick Takes. I put a link in the chat. Join up and get in the fantasy league. Yeah. Yeah, get in the fantasy league. Bam. CC, I'm sorry. It's the Hornets. I had to give a team to everybody. And I was like, you know what? CC won't mind, hopefully. I mean, I had to give every single team to somebody. I know the Hornets. I feel bad in some ways. LaMelo Ball. I know. I feel bad. But, I mean, nobody has the Raptors. Everybody shares if the Raptors win. So you have the Raptors also. If the Raptors win, we all win, obviously. So nobody got selected the Raptors, and so many people aren't getting to play in this challenge. There's only 29 people that got selected to be in this challenge, and you are one of those 29. So that's good, at least. I don't know. I feel bad now. Somebody had to take Charlotte. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Raps Love is saying this team is deep and sneaky. We're gonna shock people. I love that, Raps Love. Raps Love coming in, and once again, every once in a while, Raps Love comes in, and there's something they say that I just love, and I agree with you. I think we are sneaky deep, and in some ways, I'm really curious about our defensive intensity this year. In some ways, our defensive intensity is not going to go away with Nick Nurse and his system just because he left. These guys are trained and play a certain way. OG's going to be OG. Scotty's going to be Scotty. Jakob's going to be Jakob. Dennis is going to be Dennis. So in some ways, our defensive intensity this year could be really just as crazy as under Nick Nurse, but maybe more smart and more well thought out and not beaten in really weird ways with corner threes. I don't want to see no corner three bullshit this year with other teams just getting these crazy corner threes on us like crazy. Nah, Darko's going to have a better system to stop that. I really do believe that. All right, there's that link that I said in the chat. I've linked. If you want to join our fantasy league for basketball, that is the link to get in there right there. Fiercely saying tonight, two of my favorite WNBA teams are playing in the playoffs, the Dallas Wings and the New York Liberty. Yeah, WNBA playoff action has been fantastic. Kyle Lowry at the game between the Las Vegas Aces and the Chicago Sky last night at courtside watching WNBA playoff game. Fantastic stuff. I really am kind of hoping that the Liberty do well. I'm not rooting for the Aces. I know the Aces are probably the favorites, having seen they're the current champions from last year, and they have been the juggernaut for this year. But in some ways, I don't want the Aces to win. I love you, Becky Hammond. And in some ways, I wish you kind of were the Raptors coach. But in some ways, I'm like, y'all are too good, and we need to have the underdog win in this. So I'm rooting for the Liberty or the Wings, depending on who gets by them. And I want somebody to beat Las Vegas, is what I'm saying. Stargate's here. Good morning, Raptors Freaks. Good morning to you, Stargate. Always good to see you. Is it just me, or training camp seems to be starting much later this year? You know what? It's weird. The NBA used to start around this time, but think about this, Stargate. We used to have 8 preseason games before the season, and part of the collective bargaining agreement to cut down on the travel and all the games was to cut the preseason down in games. There used to be 8, and that's part of the reason why it seemed like it started earlier before. Now, training camp starting right around the first week of October makes sense. That's about the right time. And the other thing is the season starting earlier than it used to. The season used to start right at Halloween or the first week of November, but now it's starting like 2 or 3 weeks in November. So that is kind of a weird thing about it. The season starting earlier, but preseason starting later, if that makes sense. But yeah, you're right. It has, but it's partly because the preseason games have been cut down to 4 or 5 instead of 8 for each NBA team. Remember, it used to be like that. You'd have like 8 preseason games or at least 6. Well, they've cut it down all the way to like 4 or 5 now at this point. MSJ saying, I would love to join, but no time for the details in fantasy play. It's all good, Chris. I understand. I would caution anyone who doesn't want to put any time or effort into the fantasy team not to play. That it really is something you got to care for just a little bit, at least once a week. If you join and you just draft and I don't see you move anything around in the whole entire year, I'm gonna be like, yeah, this person's probably not should be playing. We want active managers and we want it to be competitive. Is basically the thing. Now, Chris, if you can do that, even if you don't know stuff, we can teach you. But if you have the time and you want to try and learn it, we can teach you. So Quick Takes saying, I'm in the league East Side Swag. Let's get it. All right. Quick Takes has joined. He's in there to compete with us. I love it. MSJ saying, oh, nice. Alvin is the best. Yeah, Alvin's awesome. I met him a couple times, and he's just a really good dude. So I figure I want to do all the broadcasters to an extent. So we'll probably get a Jack Armstrong Share the Love Club before the season starts also. We've done Matt Devlin this summer. We've done Savannah Hamilton. We've done Leo Routens. I do want to get the core announcers before we start the season this year. And Jack Armstrong and Alvin are two of the ones that I still got to get. So we're going to do Alvin tomorrow and expect the Jack Armstrong Share the Love Club before the season starts sometime in the next couple weeks. Yeah, Fiercely saying at CC, at least you're stuck with not stuck, or at least you're not stuck with Cleveland, Philly, or Boston. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, Cool Cat got Cleveland. David got Philly, and Michael Borland got Boston. And in some ways, yeah, I mean, don't root for them. Root for Toronto. But just in case, if the Hornets win the in-season tournament, you get the Trevor J Cup. This is a competition devised by Trevor J, and I'm just helping him facilitate it. I love that Trevor has the wanting to do prizes and send you guys prizes and be this prize guy. It's so awesome, Trevor. I appreciate you, and I'm expecting prizes coming from him in the mail in the next couple days for me to send out through this channel. So Trevor J is the commissioner of fantasy fun on this channel, and he has commissioned an in-season tournament, and these were his stipulations, and I'm just following his guide in this. Yeah. Let's see. Stargate saying, as far as the bench, please don't be surprised if someone who you love and don't expect gets cut or is sent down to the 905. I know. We got to be ready for anything. This move with Jeff Doughton Jr. this week with his G League rights is interesting. I hope that the Raptors are just like, this won't matter because you're playing for us, Jeff. And hopefully Jeff understands that also. You know, the Orlando Magic are welcoming Mac McClung. They're very happy to have him. And Delaware is welcoming Jeffrey Doughton Jr., but that doesn't mean he's going to show up. And Stargate's right. And this is the way it should be. Training camp is for a place for people to establish and show that they worked hard this summer and that they earn a spot on this roster in the rotation. And that's what has to happen. All these guys got to show up, show Darko and the new coaching staff. They may value things differently than Nick and the old coaching staff. And then they got to shake out their order in the pecking order as far as who's going to be what, starting, rotation, who's going to be on the bench, who's going to even make the team. That will all get figured out. And we have 21 players going into our training camp. We get 18 for the season. 3 two-way players, and then the regular 15-man roster is what it is. So Marquise, Javon Freeman Liberty, and Ron Harper Jr. are our 3 two-ways. They're already kind of established as those extra 3. And then, you know, the 15, they're probably going to be the roster compared to the 3 that are on the outside. Well, we could probably say Mohamedou Gueye, David O'Banner are probably not going to make this team, and they will be going to the G League and being on the 905 for sure, which they are on our 905 for rights, unlike Jeff. But Jeff's in that weird spot. He's the extra third person in the 21. And it's either him or somebody else, like I've speculated, maybe Otto Porter Jr. So we'll have to see. That's really kind of where it is, where I see it, is Jeffrey Doughton Jr. versus some unknown other player on the roster. And it could be Malachi. It could be a range of people. It could be Garrett Temple somehow, some way still. It could be Otto. It could be Thad. I don't know. It's going to be up to Bobby and Masai and the coach, Darko. that figure out what the best version of the Raptors will be for the season. And that's training camp to figure it out. That's right. There you go. There you go. NBA Quick Take saying, I like the Hornets. There's some things about the Hornets that are kind of fun. Some things I really don't like about them, though. I don't like LaMelo at all. And in some ways, he's their top dog and kind of their goofy guy. But it is what it is. The Hornets would be smart if they fired Steve Clifford and hired Jordy Fernandez right now. I'm telling you right now, they would be smart if they could pull that off. I don't know if they could get him, though. Maybe they tried to get him. And he's like, no, I don't want to go there. Kenny Atkinson doesn't want to come there. I'm like, nobody will come here. All right, let's call Steve Clifford. That's kind of what happened to them. Seriously. Dana's saying our first preseason is October the 8th against Sacramento. That's right. That's less than a month. I love it. That first week of October will be training camp. They will be in BC, and they will be getting together and working out and having an open practice for BC people to come to. And then they will play Sacramento in Vancouver at Rogers Arena. So I'm excited about this. I'm very, very excited about getting closer and closer to the NBA season. FIBA World Cup has been a great distraction for the time being the last month, but we're ready to get back to the NBA. And, oh, man, I hope we can bring some FIBA flavor to the way we play in the NBA this year. Tristan Phipps has got Pascal Siakam on blast in the emote. I love it, Tristan. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for showing me Pascal. I love it. MSJ saying, nah, just too busted in life. Okay, see, you're too busy. I get it. You're too busy. It's all good. It's not mandatory. This is for fun. And as I was telling Monique yesterday, fantasy isn't for everyone. Some people enjoy it and really like playing it. Some people, it's just a headache. It's not what they were into and stuff. And there's no reason that anybody should feel like they have to play fantasy in our leagues. And it's not a slouch or anything. You don't miss out because of it. It's just an extra added little fun thing we're doing with the channel. So, yeah, anybody who wants to play, that's it. Stargate saying, yes, less preseason games. It makes sense. Yeah, because sometimes they'd start preseason games in September in the past. But no, they're giving them more summer, and they don't start until October now. So that's good. I think that's good for the players. In some ways, September really is like a summer month. I know it's turned a little colder in the last couple of days, but think about how hot part of September has been already. So it's really kind of like summer still. Monique saying, just wanted to say thank you to Meredith and Cool Cat for the follow on Instagram. Can we say community? The season is ending late too. I love it. There you go. There you go, Monique. I love it. And thank you for following Mo. Listen, seriously, if you can find the superfan Monique Lawrence on any platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I don't know what all she's on, definitely follow her, especially during the season. My channel is very informative, but part of the reason why it's informative is because of the presence of someone like superfan Monique Lawrence, who's absolutely on top of everything. The superfan moniker is very true to her. As she said the other day, Nav gave it to her, and she is on it. So if you want that unfiltered Monique voice about what is going on with the Raptors, give her a follow on Instagram or Facebook. Those are both really, really good places to find her and hear what she has to say. She has great game recaps all season long. So definitely give a follow to Mo. That's right. Thanks for supporting her, guys. Thank you. Cowboy saying, can you check if I joined Lex? Yeah, I'll check, Cowboy. Okay, we do have some new teams in here. Okay, Meredith, I can't have you have two teams, so I'm going to take one of your teams away. I see that MK put two in. All right, we got Bradley is in for two teams too. I think you guys just messed up as far as like shared links. So I'm going to take Bradley. You got two teams right now. I'm going to take one of your teams away, and I'm also going to do the same to MK. So far in the league, it's me, Tom, Edmund, Kareem Thomas, Omari Parsons, MK, NBA Quick Takes, and Bradley are in. We have 8 teams confirmed out of the 20. So there's 12 more spots still, guys. So you can get in there. You can get in there. So you're in there, Cowboy, but you're in there twice. I'm going to delete one of those teams, so maybe pick which one you want and delete the other one. All right, let's see. Fiercey saying, lesson number 1, don't do like Fiercey. Don't waive your best players. Yeah, that's a good lesson right there. That's a tough one that Fiercey learned doing the WNBA is if you have a good players, don't drop them to try and do a switch for new players in your lineup. Keep your very best players. Yeah, that was a tough lesson for Fiercey. You gonna play the NBA, Fiercey? We'll see. I hope you get in there and go from where you came from with learning from the WNBA. Trevor's saying, I just posted a video with Jimmy Butler working out at Toronto Raptors gym. I know, this is crazy, Trevor J. What's going on, Miami Heat? Maybe Jimmy Butler wants to play in Toronto. I can speculate this. He's in Toronto at our building. Why not? CC's okay. All right. I'm sorry about it, CC. Everybody had to get a weird team. There's some other teams that are just like, somebody had to have Orlando and Washington and all the different teams in the league are represented by different people here, but you got a team. And that's something in itself. Quick take saying, I don't know, Trevor J. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing here, Jimmy Butler. He wanted to be in Toronto for his birthday. He wanted to work out. He's at the Raptors arena. Really weird. Stargate saying, Lex, what's your take on this resurfacing LeBron PED story? I remember this already came up a few years ago. This is interesting. I haven't really heard much about this. And in some ways, I get it. PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, are certain things that aren't allowed in certain ways. Now, if LeBron is able to get around certain things in certain ways, the NBA probably wouldn't look the other way. Maybe he has some sort of really, really expensive like stuff that he can get away with. I mean, in some ways, we say LeBron looks like he's on steroids. I mean, you look at his body. I don't know. I don't really care about this to a degree. In some ways, I don't want to tarnish LeBron this way like Barry Bonds. If there's forces out there that are trying to do this, and this is what their whole outcome, I hate LeBron. I don't like LeBron, but I wouldn't do this to him. Because in some ways, it's not worth asterisking him over this. Everybody, and to an extent, does PEDs or something like that. They all have different weird things they're doing these days. So to single out LeBron and do this to him, I think it's an injustice. And this is somebody who's a LeBron hater saying this. So I'm not going to get on this wagon with everybody with pitchforks coming after him for this because I don't think it's right. I think it's classless. And in some ways, PED stuff's going to happen no matter what. Now, if he's outright caught and busted, if he's like Lance Armstrong, okay. But for the most part, speculation and talking about it and just rumors around his name about this stuff it's not helpful. It does a disservice to the NBA, and it's not really like worth doing, honestly. To me, we don't need baseball steroid scandals in the NBA. It's stupid. These guys are amazing, huge athletes. And who's to say it's not from the weight room and countless hours of work what LeBron did? Maybe he had a little juice on the side and maybe made a little bit of extra growth. But honestly, I'm not going to go after him like this. Partly, and I would, if I really wanted to, if I was a real hater, like a major hater, maybe I would, but I'm not. And that tells you something right there. LeBron has scarred Toronto fans for years with Cleveland. And I'm not even low enough to go after him for this. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. So what? The people that are going after LeBron for this, you should be talking about how long he's played. You should be talking about some of his accomplishments instead of trying to bring him down because of PED rumors. Even I wouldn't do that. And I hate him. I absolutely hate him. I would never try and take him down for that. That seems silly to me. MSJ saying, I really think Koloko is going to be better. Not much talk on him, but I bet he's worked very hard. And McDaniels is going to play minutes. The wild card for me is Freeman Liberty. So many moving parts. Yeah, I mean, these are different places where Darko can go to look for production and different weapons and different looks. I'm worried about Koloko, to be honest, Chris. We have not seen much of Koloko in action this summer. We did not see him play at Summer League. I've not seen him in the Rico runs. They've said he's been hurt. So I don't know if he's actually has been getting as much work this summer in as we'd like. In some ways, he's this summer's Justin Champagnie, the guy who's just been hurt and not been participating and has me very worried about where he's at with his game. I did see him do a couple things at Arizona this summer. He went back to visit his alma mater, and he was moving real smooth on the court there. That may be the only clip I've seen of him working in the gym or work. I know he's worked out. I see him working out, but I don't see him in play doing too much. So I'm worried about Koloko to an extent, and partly the way I was worrying about Champagnie last year. I'm not worried about Koloko getting cut like I was for Champagnie last year. I was more worried about just the absence of him not being out there and working on the court as much in footage as I'd like. Like there's no Rico Hines runs of him, and he wasn't at Summer League. And I'm telling you, those are important places for a young guy his age after his rookie season to go out there and get as much work as possible. Now, if he's had a lingering injury and he couldn't do stuff this summer, that makes me worried too. So, in some ways, I'm wondering about Koloko. I really am. Cowboys saying, I agree, Mug Brother. Bam, Koloko's going to be a monster. I hope you're right. I hope you guys are exactly right. And any of what I just said is just stupid. Nothing to be worried about. I hope you guys are exactly right. Fiercely saying Jordy going to Charlotte would definitely be a project, laugh out loud. Quite challenging, but could be a good starting point to his head coach career. I'm telling you, some of these suspect coaches better watch out. Jordy Fernandez could be getting hired and coming and taking their jobs. Any of these coaches are kind of in weird positions. Steve Clifford is definitely probably number one. So I don't know. It's not that I want Jordy to go there, but we know Jordy's going to get a head coaching job in the NBA very soon. The secret's out about him with Team Canada. And it absolutely is shown that he's ready. So he's going to be getting a job. It's too bad he's not going to be with us, but we can't have more than one head coach. We got Darko. Some of y'all wanted to get both of them. I remember this summer. We kept saying, can we get them both? So I was like, I don't know if that works that way. He won't leave a lateral move from going from the head number one to Mike Brown to the number one to Darko. So I don't think that would have worked. MSJ saying that LaMelo is a cool player for the fans under 15 years old, as he kind of plays like a high schooler. He's someone for them to look up to. Laugh out loud. Cheers, Cece. To me, LaMelo is the epitome of what's wrong with the fundamentals in young players today. He's flashy, he does all this kind of stuff, but it's all extraneous and it doesn't lead up to winning. It's not fundamentally good. LaMelo Ball may be talented as hell, but he's not a good fundamental basketball player. And he's the epitome of what's wrong with what young people value about the basketball game at this point. All sizzle, no steak. And that's what LaMelo is. He's all sizzle and no steak. And that's a good point. He's a very, very popular with young people, but that's part of the problem. Young people have really stupid idea what matters in the NBA. And he's the exact good example of what I'm talking about. Fiercely saying at Superfan Mo highlights interesting stats and facts. That's right. Mo's all about her observations after the game. She'll write them up that night, and she's very astute, and she's definitely always highlighting key stats and giving good kudos to the people that did good stuff in the game. So highly recommend the follow of Superfan Monique Lawrence. NBA Quick Takes saying at Superfan Mo. That's right. Go follow Mo. Give her that support, Raptors Freak family. Fiercely Salsera saying, I had to register. Thought it was later. Let me go now. It's all good. There's lots of room, Fiercely. And we're going to make sure we give room to especially valued day-to-day members who are here all the time. You guys are definitely getting preference. Cowboys saying, right on. Let's go. Bam. Lex. Mo. Mo needs a dunk for just being her when it's the draft. All right, yeah, we're going to give Monique a dunk because Bradley is the leader of alley-oops in this league. He always throws the lob, and Bradley has said, Monique, you're getting a dunk from me because she's throwing it up, and Monique's slamming it down from Bradley's pass. I love it. Quick Take Sam Meredith trying to double up, eh? So is Bradley. I know. We're going to cut these teams down to one for each of y'all. There's not enough spots. Cool Cat saying, yes, please set up ESPN. I can't access Yahoo. It's weird. I'm in and out of the chats. Have a lot of meetings scheduled today. I will join the ESPN league. Yahoo not letting me in anymore. That's weird. So you have the same problem that Monique is having, that both of y'all are not able to get into Yahoo. All right, we'll definitely do the ESPN league to allow for Monique and Cool Cat to be participating in fantasy this year. So I'll set that one up also. I have no problem with that. And we'll figure out we'll keep everybody having one team for right now, except for me. I'll have a team in both leagues. And then as we need to, we'll fill in possibly more people from the Yahoo League into the ESPN League if we do not have enough people to play. I'm going to put max teams on both because I want as many people that are around this channel to play fantasy basketball with us this year, whether it's on Yahoo or ESPN. Okay? So we'll do both. And I don't know. Do you guys want to do head-to-head on both of them? Maybe David's like, let's do rotisserie on one of them. He wants to do rotisserie on one of them, maybe. I don't know, David. Let me know what you think on that. Let's see. Cowboys saying, are we doing the one Raptor per team again? Later, Lex and Freaks, let's go. Yeah, the same rule is same. And this is going to be even crazier because there's going to be 20 teams, and that means that a lot of people will not have a Raptor. So it's going to be very, very valuable to get a Raptor on your team. You are not allowed to roster more than one Raptor in Raptor Freak NBA leagues. And that's because we want everybody to have a chance to have a Raptor on their team to root for. So if you want Scotty on your team, you might want to take him in the first round, even if he's not a good first round pick overall with the talent. I'm just saying, if your priority is to get one of the really good Raptors, well, they're heavily weighted. Siakam, same thing. He's not going to be around after the first round, trust me. So it's even like I want Jokic or do I want Siakam? That's some of the tough choices we have to make. And that kind of hurt my team last year because my very first pick was Scotty Barnes. And it wasn't like Giannis or LeBron or some of the very, very top names in the league. So, yeah, we are doing that rule again, Cowboy. That rule will just be standard forever in this channel if we're doing fantasy. No stacking up of a lot of Raptors on your team. Fiercely saying, we barely saw OG train last summer, and he came out amazing. Hopefully it'll be the same for Koloko. I hope so. I'm just worried. I know he was hurt at Summer League, and they didn't play him there. And then in some ways, it's like I wanted to see at least a little bit of a highlight of him working at Rico Hines, but we haven't seen that. We've seen Grady, we've seen Scotty, we've seen Chris, we've seen Pascal, all those guys on the court running, but I did not see a single clip of Christian Koloko running at Rico Hines this summer yet. So I'm just a little worried about it. And I mean, I know he's not going to lose a spot on the team. It's just I want to make sure he's healthy and he's been progressing this summer. Let's see. Quick take saying, agree, Lex. I don't care what's in Braun's drink. Pivotal year for Koloko. Listen, the man is over 40 at this point. His career is almost over. If you were going to come after him for PED stuff, you should have done it 10 years ago. I'm sorry. It's too late. It looks petty. And I hate the man. I'm not a big fan of him as a player. I love him as a person. I think he's an amazing person. But on the court, I hate him. And if I wanted to go after him for a cheap way, I'd get on this train and go after him for PEDs. But I think it's stupid. It's a witch hunt in some ways. And it's stupid. And there's no reason to sully him like this. Seriously. He's been one of the best pros in the last 20 years. Even if he's part of the problem, he's been absolutely one of the best pros and one of the greatest players ever. And it doesn't help the NBA to turn on its superstar and eat his own. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that to him. That's how I'm at with this. It doesn't look good for the game or the prestige. It's just ugly, bad, dirty laundry. And in some ways, it's unnecessary. PEDs are a certain thing at this point. There's a science to it. And some of this stuff is so borderline between illegal and legal that it's like it could change. It could change just a change like, oh, well, this was a PED, but now it isn't. Or this wasn't a PED, now it is. And that's what I'm saying. This stuff is always changing. And there's, there's different things out there that are weird, synthetic things that athletes take. And they're all on a sliding scale of legal or illegal. And that's what I'm saying. I'm going to come after him for that. It's cheap. It's cheap. Tom Duke saying, yep, Koloko's roiding up in the weight room, hopefully. Good morning and go Raptors. Just kidding about the roids. Tom Duke accusing Christian Koloko of roiding up. In some ways, I'd like to see him roid up a little bit. Yeah, see, I don't care about PEDs. Wrestling has had them. Baseball has definitely had them. Oh, my gosh, baseball. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, pivotal year for Koloko. We'll have to see. Stargate saying Jordy will be the Lakers head coach by next year. Book it. Wow. I don't know if I see this, Stargate. And part of the reason why is because they really like Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham has been a huge success for the Lakers. He's finally the first coach that LeBron really respects and likes. And they finally got that right. So I don't see this. Darvin Ham could have gone and left the Lakers and taken the Milwaukee Bucks head coaching job instead of Adrian Griffin. In fact, that's what the Bucks wanted. He was supposed to come home and coach for the Bucks. But no, he's staying in the Lakers. And the Lakers love him. The fans love him. The players love him. And when you get to that point with all the different things that have happened in LA the last few years, they don't want to mess that up. So Darvin Ham's pretty safe. He's got the check marks of the front office, the fans, and the players all endorsing him. So I don't see that in that particular place. No, not there. Darvin Ham is very valued there. Mischief saying, Lex, what place Raptors are going to finish in the East standings? I say third or fourth. I love that, Mischief. I love that. And I hope you're exactly right. If it could happen, that'd be great. I think it's more realistic will be 5 or 6. But if we get home court in the first round in the playoffs, I won't be upset. So if we can end up 4th or higher in the Eastern Conference, people will laugh at me for saying that right now and think I'm crazy. Well, we'll see who's crazy by the end of the year. We'll see who's crazy. Y'all can go ahead and poo-poo us and believe what the U.S. media and different people are saying. I see our roster as being very good. Scotty Barnes said on CBC TV this week that you get ready, we're going to win. I'm going to kick some ass. I feel real good about this team. Scotty loves his team. Scotty thinks this team's going to be good. He likes the new coaching staff. So I'm going to listen to Scotty because in a lot of ways it's in his hands. And if he thinks he can do it, if he's going to say, oh, the Raptors are going to be good this year, just go with us on the ups and downs, but promise you we're going to be good. I'll listen to Scotty. Yeah, I'll listen to him. The other guys seem happy. Yaka was very happy to come back to Toronto, even with Fred leaving. Pascal's on cloud nine. He's just living his best life right now. You think he's worried about this season? You think he's worried about being a good team this year? Maybe the problems he had last year are all gone, namely his coach. So it'll be very interesting. I hope they get 6th or higher. I want them to stay away from the play-in, and I want them to meet a regular playoff spot. Trevor's giving my cutoff. Thank you, Trevor J. Very nice of you to do that. Fiercely saying, who will replace LeBron as the face of the league once he retires? Giannis? Pretty sure NBA won't push for Jokic. Wouldn't be surprised they choose Tatum, although I don't think it suits him. I think they'd like it to be Tatum. They want it to be an American guy. So in some ways, Jokic or Giannis aren't their best choices. Even Luca isn't their best choice either. So in some ways, they do want it to be some American guy. That is very, very true. In some ways, it seems like they want to make it Joel Embiid, though. I don't know. In some ways, this should not be like an anointed thing. This should be something where somebody is just clearly that. It's like, once again, they keep wanting to give things to players. Golden boy, give you superstar status. You haven't earned it yet, though. Zion Williamson. So that's what I'm saying. Let's stop giving things to players in the NBA before they've actually said, if I could say, well, Michael Jordan's the greatest player in the league because he did it on the court and showed it. And we say, LeBron, same thing. So if some player's going to rise above and do that certain level of dominance and excellence in the whole entire league, that's who it should be. Whether they're American or international, it doesn't matter. Whoever is the dominant player in the league to take the crown from LeBron James, it should be that person. If it's Nikola Jokic, it should be him. But if it's Luka Doncic, it should be him. But I don't think they should force it on us that it's Jason Tatum. I don't think that they should force it on us that it has to be Devin Booker. I think that kind of shit is fake. And it actually sabotages because you can feel when it's forced. And you're kind of well, this doesn't add up. Jason Tatum's real good. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but he's not very good in clutch in the times when things matter. He disappears for the Celtics all the time. So it's is this actually a LeBron level kind of player in this league? No. And that's what I'm saying. It actually has to happen, and it naturally has to be perceived by everybody. They can't manufacture it and make an ad campaign and say, this is our guy. He's our new guy. No, it has to be real. It has to be legit. And that's the thing. I'm going to reject every single one of them until I say, oh, this is the real one. This is the real guy. This is the next guy after LeBron. If they try and tell us who it is, this is the chosen one. I'll reject them. It's when they show it on the court and it's undeniable, then I'll say it. Kobe before, Michael before, LeBron now. Well, who's going to be after him? It's not going to be determined by the NBA. It's going to be determined by who plays the best. And if they try to tell us who it's going to be, I'm going to reject it. That's basically it right there. That's right there. Yeah. Let's see. Stargate saying if the DEA that's investigating LeBron and reference a PED. So it's actually the DEA trying to take him down. Well, this smacks of big government or some assholes out there trying to take down a black man again. Oh my gosh. Well, I understand Kobe Bryant did some bad things in Denver and he was in trouble. Tiger Woods does some bad things. He gets in trouble. Bill Cosby, obviously a bad person. But this is the thing. They get so gleeful about ripping down a black man who's successful and something like that. So is this what it is? A witch hunt from the government of the United States to tear down LeBron James? Who's doing this? And why would you do this? What's your motives? This is a good family man, a good man who's done good things with his life. And this smacks of some sort of fucked up racist bullshit if they are actually coming after him for this. Seriously, you got better things to do. There's children's schools, rooms getting shot up every day, government. Go and fucking take care of things that matter and maybe leave LeBron alone. And I have no reason to stand up for LeBron. And this is just me saying it. You go fucking clean up your issue with guns and all the other issues you have problems down there with, like banning books and fucking people that are crazy about critical race theory. These are real problems, not fucking LeBron James taking steroids. Yeah, that's messed up. That's messed up. If you're telling me it's the DEA and it's the government, then that's messed up. Get your head out of your ass, Joe Biden. Yeah, come on, Kamala Harris. You're like the justice vice president. In some ways, that's why I don't like you. It's because you've been very bad to people through the criminal justice system. And are you guys going after LeBron James now? Why? Why are you doing that? There's no reason to do that. Seriously. Has he hurt anyone? Has he made anything bad from doing that? No. So why would you do that? I don't understand it. Maybe just because they feel like they can, or they want to, once again, take down a very prominent, important black man. I know. You'd be like, what? You're playing the race card, Lex? Well, I just see a pattern here. Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant, all these different people. I get it. Maybe they do have skeletons in their closet, but maybe there's white equivalents that have the same kind of shit, and they're never brought to light like that. They're protected. So that's what I'm saying. There's a little bit of that going on sometimes. And this is what this smacks of. Fiercely saying Darvin Ham is in for a rude awakening. Wait till they start losing. They were really disgraceful towards Vogel. Yeah, I mean, if things don't go right for them and there's dysfunction, yeah, they turn on each other. But Darvin, in some ways, is a different kind of coach. He's a former player. He's a guy who could really throw it down in the league. Like, if you see the old highlights of Darvin Ham as a dunker, they're pretty nasty. So there's a lot of different respect for him as an old player in the league than some of the former Laker coaches recently. And in some ways, that gets him a lot further with these players because he was in the trenches and he knows. So I don't know if this is going to be this way. I wish I could portend that the Lakers are going to have more of a dumpster fire of the year this year, but I don't think they are. I think in some ways they're getting their shit together and they actually will be functional this year. But the sad tragedy of it will be that LeBron's getting older and it won't be that he can carry them or they can be as dominant as they'd like to, partly just because of LeBron's aging. So it may be that's part of the whole recipe of why they may actually be functionally good. And maybe, who knows, AD may even have a healthy season and their additions and subtractions this summer may add up, especially since the trade deadline and the moves they made and getting Vanderbilt and a couple other people coming there. I think they're going to be okay this year, that they're set up and they're going to be in a good shape, but it still won't add up to being a top team in the West. That there's other teams in the West that are just better than them overall, and they're going to get their butts kicked, even though they have a functional kind of good year. So Kareem saying, I want everyone to be on an even playing field across all sports. PEDs for everyone. Don't we all remember Sosa, McGuire, Bonds era? It was a must-watch TV. Laugh out loud. Just kidding. Don't do drugs, kids. That was a little schizophrenic on both sides there. But I get Kareem's point. In some ways, he's right. People are going to do this. They might as well make them all legal. Now, are they harmful to people's bodies and they die from them? Well, then they maybe shouldn't be doing them also. I don't know. This is no easy, simple answer. Like I said, there's a lot of gray areas with different substances on what's PED and what's not. And, there's people getting edges in all kinds of different ways in this department. And in some ways, how do you regulate this, or how do you determine what is and what isn't? Because some of this stuff is very similar that is legal, that isn't legal. So it is weird. As long as it's a level playing field and everybody's going by the same rules, well, that's what should matter the most in the end. Because there is a certain level of PED stuff going that's legal that people are doing. Quick Take saying, I'm uneasy as to how we shape the starting lineup, but fully aware that we are loaded with talent. There you go. Quick Takes is confident in Toronto Raptors roster build. He's just not sure exactly how it's going to go. And you know what? In some ways, that's part of the surprise of us getting to watch them this year, is to see the innovation and ideas that Darko comes up with our guys. And I really am going to be comparing and contrasting with Nick Nurse in the past and seeing like, oh, well, this is different. Nick would have done this in this situation, but Darko's philosophy is different in this case, and I can tell. So I'm all about the difference. I want to see it. Monique saying, I met Alvin during the 2019 championship run. Every time we talk about Chris Boucher, puts a smile on my face. W stream. Keep at it, Lex. Go Raptors. What a time. Monique is on cloud nine. She knows that, like, she really enjoyed the FIBA World Cup and Dennis's success. And this time of year really is an anticipation time of year for her and I and the rest of y'all, because we know the season's going to be coming soon. And we're going to get to start going back down to the Scotiabank Arena, seeing games. and watching them on TV and getting to root our Raptors on. So yeah, what a time indeed, Monique. What a time. Quick takes are saying Braun making too much money. Yeah, they get too worried about a powerful black man, buying ownership and teams and things like that. Oh, you're a little getting too up on what life. Maybe push you down a little bit, LeBron. That's messed up. I don't like that. I don't like that. LeBron is a good person outside of the court in all kinds of different ways. He may whine and may be a little bitch on the court, but off the court, he's an absolute amazing gentleman and person and a beacon of a role model for everybody, honestly, in a lot of different ways. And maybe not on the court. I won't take his leadership from what he's whining and crying and bitching about on there. But in his life, he's a hugely great example of how to live your life. So I don't like that they're sullying his reputation in this kind of way, and I won't get with them coming after him. I won't. I could easily get on here and just go after him, like I'm sure a lot of people on YouTube are doing. But I'm not going to do that because I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. Stargate saying, yep, you can feel when it's forced. It's so true. Look what they do every draft class. They force players down your throat. Cade, Victor, etc., etc. Yeah. Yeah, and it's up to us whether we want to buy into the hype. Victor, I'm buying into it. I didn't buy into Chet, though. Chet, they gave all this hype on Chet ahead of time. Well, he got hurt and missed his rookie season. I'll buy the hype on Victor because I can see it. In some ways, it's kind of like this thing where you got to kind of analyze for yourself with your own two eyes and what you want to believe or not. Now, some people are saying Victor's overhyped and he's not going to be what he's supposed to be, and he's going to be a bust. But I don't believe them. I think you're crazy if you think Victor Wembanyama is going to be a bust. But they are already anointing him a golden boy before he shows up. But it's for some reasons, I really feel like he's going to cash those checks and he's going to be fine. Now, you brought up Cade. I think Cade is absolutely a superstar, and his hype is well defined also. He's another number one pick. And I think that just because he missed last season doesn't mean we should discount him. He's a very good player also. It's more people like Ben Simmons, Zion Williamson, and even Jason Tatum to a degree that I feel like is forced on us. And that you can feel it. You can feel it. You know what I'm talking about, Stargate. When you feel like the NBA is pushing a little too hard with their media blitz of that particular person, you're like, why are they in the ads? Like, seriously, what the fuck have they done? Like, who are they? Why are they a good player? Why are they supposed to be one of the top players? I see OG doing more than they do. Like, why are you putting them on blast? It's that kind of thing. Like, Siakam should be a star in this league. They should be pushing him just like Jason Tatum, but they don't. And that's what I'm saying. In some ways, that's what pisses me off about it, is that I see a guy like Siakam who earned this. He's a champion. He's all NBA. He's an all-star. He's got stats that only Luca and LeBron have. Why the fuck isn't he pushed as a top star in this NBA? Because they want to manufacture the stars they want to. So when they force one that I don't think is a star, I will reject them just as much as they don't even give Siakam a chance to come through that door, even though he has earned it. That's what I'm saying right there. That's the difference right there. Bam, bam, and bam. Quick Take saying 100%. Yeah, thank you. Stargate saying also, I think the Clippers will be more of a dumpster fire, and I really like Tyronn Lue as the coach. Yeah, I could see this. I think the Clippers will have more trouble this year, and partly it'll be because of this new rule. I'm going to do a very in-depth Sunday special report on the new resting rules that came out this week. So this weekend's schedule is Alvin Williams, Share the Love Club, Sunday special report, the new resting rules for the NBA. I'm going to elaborate on them. I've studied them a bit. And Vegas odds are already saying that the team that's going to violate the resting rules first will be the Clippers. I guess that makes sense since Mr. Load Management is on that team. It's a very interesting system they're going to use for this rule. And I'm going to talk about why it benefits the Raptors on Sunday. So we're going to check that out, 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning, Sunday special report, the new resting rules. Let's take an in-depth look, see how they affect the Raptors, and see how they're going to affect the league in general. So I'm very excited about this Sunday special report that just came around because of this rule change this week. Now, I'll give you guys all the important information about it on Sunday. Yeah, let's go. Fiercely saying, Lex, despite the offseason, you still had great topics of conversation, FIBA, etc. Thank you for keeping the channel engaging, entertaining, and interesting. You're welcome, Fiercely. There is some work that is into coming up with stuff every single day. I kind of have to take a moment every day and it's like, well, what am I going to do my stream on tomorrow? Oh my gosh. And actually, to tell you the truth, today was tough. I was like, I want to start reintegrating the Raptors content on this channel over the Team Canada stuff that we did for like a month. And so I'm like, I want to get the Raptors faces in my chat places. And I had Scotty earlier this week. I wanted to get Chris some blast, especially since we were talking about Chris a bit in the last couple of days. And in some ways, he's very interesting what he's doing right now. And I wanted to do a little end to the summer kind of thing. I thought Chris was the right person to put in the picture. And him giving those backpacks to those kids in that St. Lucia school and just the things he's doing in the last couple of weeks of being with his family and on that island was just the perfect idea for end of summer. So yeah, there's some brainstorming and the things that I come up with for how I set up the streams. It does work for sure, and I appreciate that you recognize that, Fiercey, and you appreciate how engaging this channel has been over the summer. In the middle of the time, a lot of Raptors people are taking this summer off. They took a couple months off. I'm grinding every single day. It doesn't matter. I'm not like Will Lou and them taking the Raptors show on hiatus. I'm doing this the whole time, and that's not easy. This time of year can be very difficult. And sometimes when I get near the season, I'm like thankful because I can go back to easier kind of setup with previews and reactions to the games instead of having to do my off-season schedule of the Friday Freakout, the Sunday report, the Monday moment, and all that kind of stuff, and figuring out what's going to be there. I appreciate your thank you, and you're welcome, and thank you for being a part of it. Kareem's saying all the injury-prone superstars will be done with the new resting rules by mid-season. We're primed not to only do well, but flourish in the second half of the year. Yeah, I'm going to talk about why this actually benefits us in some really dumb ways. And it's going to be funny, Kareem. You're going to laugh about it if you're here on Sunday. Monique saying, laugh out loud at the new resting rule. Glad I gave you the ideas for the channel. Thank you, Mo. Yeah, thanks I do consult Monique on off hours sometimes to help me with some of the ideas for some of the things I've done this summer. So yes, I have to give some credit to Monique for helping me brainstorm some of the topics we talk about. She's always been very helpful to this channel, and we do very much appreciate her contributions. That's right. Yeah, Kawhi, laugh out loud. Let's laugh about Kawhi. All right, let me make sure that I'm not missing anything that I wanted to talk about today. Hang on. Yeah, so the FIBA World Cup rankings FIBA World Rankings came out, and USA's #1. I think it's kind of ridiculous and hollow, but it is what it is. It's their system. They got fourth place. In some ways, they needed to leapfrog Spain, and Spain needed to come down. And, Canada wasn't ready to leap all the way into the top 5. Whatever. We're 6th. That's better than 15th. Germany, good job. You're #3. So that's awesome. Jimmy Butler working out here in Toronto at the practice facility on the 3rd floor of the Scotiabank Arena. That is weird to see. Very weird to see. I don't even know if those are Raptors people. I think he's with his own people. So maybe he isn't with our own people, but he's definitely using our building. But yeah, there you go. And once again, let's do the Raptors Instagram check real quick. We got Isaac Bonga saying happy birthday to Dennis Schroeder on his Instagram on fire. Of course, they're really happy to celebrate their MVP of the Team Germany, Dennis Schroeder. And of course, he's putting on blast his German parade footage. Dennis Schroeder going back and getting all the accolades and the adulation from the German fans. Of course, he's putting on blast his brother, Shayesen, who has his own YouTube channel and Instagram. You might want to follow Dennis's brother. He's always putting extra content around Dennis on blast. Just such good stuff. Everybody wishing Dennis a happy birthday, including his friend Mikey online. So good to see. I see a wish of a happy birthday from, it looks like his wife with the kids. Just good stuff. Grady Dick, always putting on blast. Tommy's Express Car Wash. Tom Duke's Express Car Wash in Kansas. Just go and get your car washed. You can experience the clean with Tommy's Express by using the link below to get a month of unlimited washes, all on Grady Dick. What a guy. What a nice guy. He's going to give you unlimited free car washes. Gary Trent Jr. is like putting on blast some sort of like computer builder guy in Toronto. He's hiring and he's looking for new people to join the team. I don't think this is WR Builds. This is Game Tech Toronto. So this is a little bit of a weird thing for Gary to post, that he wants to help this guy hire some new techs for his computer building company. So whatever. Hey, Gary, you can help whoever you want. Now, Marquise Noel has some really interesting stuff on his Instagram today. He's got captions and quips of him for Kansas State killing it, of course, and his beautiful, great college basketball year this past year. And in the caption, it says, "I can't wait to turn the six up." So this man is all about coming to the six and making the six happen. He's showing his highlights, and he said, this is one of the other captions he says on one of them. He says, "Let's make them scared of the six." I'm like, holy crap, Marquise has switched from talking himself up and saying, "I'm going to be the greatest Raptor of all time. I'm coming in to do this and this." And now he's saying, "I'm with the six. I'm coming to the six. I can't wait to turn up the six. I want to make the rest of the league scared of the six." So this man's trying to be a six man, a six guy, just like Drake used to sing about. That's what I'm saying. And Marquise has heard the songs. He's probably ready to come up here and be running through the six with his woes. You know how that shit goes. That's what I'm saying. Right now, Marquise is embracing the six life. And he's all about putting forth, he wants to come up and make people scared of the six again. Ooh, Marquise, you are speaking my language right now when you're saying, let's make them scared of the six. I think that this could happen with the team makeup of who we got in certain ways. We could be doing that. Marquise also very proud of Dennis Schroeder's MVP in the World Cup. He was celebrating with him and being very proud of him also. Slim Duck is in that Silk commercial. I told y'all he's drinking the milk and he's got the milk mustache. He's dunking the cookies and the Silk milk. It's no dairy in it. This is like made up milk from soy. So yeah, he's on blast for the Silk. He's also got pictures of him with his friends once again on the boat playing dominoes from earlier this summer, and just cool pictures of him in the summertime. And then he's also celebrating George St. Pierre, the mixed martial arts fighter from Quebec. He's actually friends with Chris. I don't know if y'all know this, but he's been around GSP and they know each other. So very cool that he's putting on blast his friend George, who's one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. Ron Harper Jr. has got a guy who's got game day for the Eagles. Ron Harper is definitely Eagles Nation, and he is rooting on them Philadelphia Eagles. Thad Young's got his wife on blast, Shakina. She's wearing a bodysuit, and he's like, "Whoa, she's hot." So Thad showing love for his wife and saying she is very, very hot, is what he's got going on there. Raptors official is showing Giants of Africa footage from the summer and years from before, talking about the importance of the Giants of Africa program with Masai Ujiri and the work that they're doing over on that continent. So good stuff there. I think that's pretty much our Raptors Instagram check right there. I almost forgot to do it. I'm glad I went and looked at my tabs. I was going to, I didn't do my tab. Quick Take saying, yeah, you're building a really good brand here, Lex. Proud to be a part of it and taking notes. Yeah, man, listen, I know what you're doing there is more general NBA. I've seen some of your content recently talking about the Celtics and the Nets and Knicks and different teams. And I get it. You're more general NBA, but I'm glad you found a place to be more Raptors tip with us and the Raptors here. This really is a fun fan club. This isn't a like we're unbiased and we follow the whole NBA and we're treating everybody fair. No, we're pretty much the very biased Raptors fans for the Raptors and opposite to the rest of the world. The rest of the world may be biased against the Raptors, but we will be biased in their favor here at least. And I appreciate that, man. It's been a really weird evolution of this channel. It started out with me just doing short 5-minute clips talking by myself. And all of a sudden I was doing a live and I was like, wait, somebody's in the chat with me. And they started talking to me. And that's kind of how it evolved into an interactive chat with me on the live stream. It wasn't the way I intended to do it. I intended to do it normal like content where I just talk and post stuff on YouTube. But it very much became us instead of just me very quickly. And I love that about it. I really do. Fiercey's barfing because USA's number one on the FIBA rankings. The six is manifesting fire. That's right, Fiercey Salsa. And on that note, I'm going to say thank y'all for joining me today on the Friday Freakout. Raptors, thank you for having such a fantastic summer. A summer in the sun, a summer with your friends, a summer in exciting, exotic, and amazing locales with great tourist pictures, great cultural times for Precious and Pascal and different people like that. Great, amazing endeavors and new things that y'all are doing with scholarships and fellowships and giving people back, just all kinds of great stuff from all of our guys, Dennis, Scotty, Pascal, OG, Precious, Jakob, Gary, Koloko, Chris, all you guys, amazing stuff, Malachi, camps. I appreciate y'all and how y'all spent your summer this year. Y'all did a great job and I can see the fun that y'all had. And I'm excited about the enthusiasm and the energy you're bringing to Raptors training camp next month. So I wish y'all the best. Godspeed, God bless, and God protect y'all with the best quality of health and awesome things happening for you in this new season coming up for the Raptors. I'll say it right now. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2024. We'll say it again. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2024. 2024 NBA champions, Toronto Raptors. Say it into existence, just like we did last year. Manifest it. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Give a good follow to NBA Quick Takes, Logical Raptors Fanatic, and all of our great family and friends in the Raptors Freak community. I'll be back tomorrow, Saturday Share the Love Club, 9:30 a.m. here at the cottage. I'll probably be sitting outside. We'll talk some Alvin Boogie Williams. All right, y'all. Let's go Raptors! Woo!